I can tell you for a fact that if you were to ask me during my career, what was my purpose in life, Dwayne Parker, and I wouldn't be able to tell you. I could tell you what I enjoyed doing. I can tell you what I liked and what made me feel good, but I couldn't tell you what was my purpose. Today, I can tell you what my purpose is.
Today on the show, I'm joined by Dwayne Parker, a retired healthcare administrator, heart transplant survivor, and the founder of Men's Health First. Dwayne's story is one of resilience, purpose, and deep faith. From working behind the scenes in the healthcare system to becoming an advocate for men's wellness, he's got a powerful journey to share with us. Thank you, Dwayne, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How's your energy today?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, slept well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Some people do not sleep that well.
I really look forward to sleeping well, and I usually do. Matter of fact, that's kind of important for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. So I am so curious to learn more about you and your story. So let's rewind the clock a little bit. Take us back to those earlier years, your teenage days.
Yeah.
What was life like for you back then?
I had a fantastic teenage lifestyle and livelihood. It was, if I can put it this way, it was wholesome and a lot of fun. And I was one of those kids very much engaged in sports. As a matter of fact, I got involved in organized sports, I'd say around the 4th, 5th grade, and been involved in sports from that point on. And so that's what I did. Me and the guys, my friends, did quite a bit. And we had an organized healthcare, but an organized educational system. I grew up when we had recreation centers and various programs and events, even throughout the summer months, where you had the organized activities in the rec center.
We don't see that.
You don't see that. It's hidden now, and it's a ghost. But that developed my athleticism, that developed my socialism, and socializing and interacting with kids my own age, and my competitiveness, if you will. So it was quite fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was like one of your favorite, I'm just curious, what was one of your favorite sports to play?
Actually, my favorite sport was basketball.
Okay.
The best thing that I did was run track. I was a hurdler and had some speed, and so that was a real unique race. But it was also exciting, just as exciting as a 100-yard dash. There's the 120-yard high hurdles.
Yeah, I couldn't do track.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
I walk funny, so it's like, I don't think I can run too
It's
well.
all about running,
Yeah.
whether it's for a long period of time or a very short time and fast. So if you're not excited about running, track is not for you.
Yeah, I'm not.
But my teenage years were really good, and actually is when I grew up. I had my first job at the age of 14. I was selling shoes at the Tom McAn shoe store in the Fort Saginaw Mall.
Oh, wow.
In Saginaw, which
We don't have anymore.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, that mall predates the Fashion Square Mall.
Yes.
It was the first indoor mall
Yes.
in Saginaw County. But really enjoyed that opportunity to interface with adults and people as a teenager and learn some interpersonal skills and things of that nature at that time. So
we're like setting the stage of this foundation of athleticism. That's what I'm saying. And then also just leading into your healthcare field.
Sure.
Developing those skills at that early age, which is pretty awesome. So before we dive into Men's Health First and everything you've built, because you've built a legacy around that, I want to talk about your early career. So you've spent over 25 years in healthcare, from marketing, behavioral health, HR. What drew you into that field?
So, graduating from college, I had a double major of sociology, psychology, and wanted to be involved in some form or fashion. I was still really interested. To be honest with you, I wanted to be an FBI agent, and really was interested in exploring the FBI, and got introduced in college.
Okay.
They actually visited the campus, and I just was intrigued about criminal justice, and I actually witnessed the President Herbert Bush, George's father,
Okay.
the first Bush
Yes.
president, came to campus, and I identified the Secret Service that was surrounding him, and they were in suits and sharp suits, by the way, and shades. And then they were also carrying a gun. And I just thought that that was attractive, and that was appealing, and that was masculine, and it was cool.
Okay.
And so that was an interest. And then exploring getting out of college, and contemplating that, going to FBI school. I landed a job in the school district of Kalamazoo, and decided that I would spend at least a year trying to figure out and decide on FBI school. And at that particular time, my mother had taken ill,
Okay.
and I decided to move back home. And my mother had passed away about a year after I moved back home. And then I decided that I will stick around the Saginaw area, started looking and seeking work, and found employment with Hurley Medical Center in the behavioral health field.
Yeah.
And the moment I walked in the door of Hurley Medical Center, I realized that healthcare is where I wanted to be. I really felt a pull and a strong urge to be involved in the healthcare scene, and watched, learned, and listened, and really identified where I felt I could make the best impact. And the best impact was in administration. And there were not many African American men at the time in administration.
Yeah.
And I was able to matriculate through the programs there. They offered some management development training programs, and I participated in those, and just kept my head down, learned and listened, and eventually got elevated to an administrative role in HR, and also got involved in marketing as well. And so I was hooked in healthcare from that point on.
That is so interesting. I mean, to come back, you moved back home due to your mom's illness. Do you want to describe what her illness was?
Sure. My mother had passed away with breast cancer. She had a double mastectomy, and after that, it went fast. It just moved through her body very fast, and passed away at the ripe old age of 47. And that was a big turnaround and shock for me. It was a surprise to the family. We didn't know that she was ill. It came on very quickly. And so that took me for a loop. And really, at that particular time, really thought that I should get checkups early on. And that was more of a scared straight kind of thing. I was healthier than an ox, but still felt that I needed to get checked out too. And I know that they tell girls of women who have breast cancer to definitely get checked out. But, I was very close to my mother, and I felt that, if something like this happened to a woman at this age, you might want to get checked out too, Parker. And so that's when I began to start getting annual checkups.
Wow.
Yeah.
So her developing breast cancer, was there anyone else in your family? I mean, because sometimes they say it's genetic, right? So did her mother, or was there any other signs in the family?
No,
where cancer
actually not. I think my mother was one of the first to have and diagnosed with cancer. Her sisters no. And her mother, no, didn't have it. So that was an interesting take. However, my father was a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you decide to go to Hurley Medical Center,
Yeah.
and you go into the behavioral health side. What was that like, or what was that type of position?
Sure. So behavioral health, of course, is mental health. And my role and my function was I was the coordinator of behavioral health for Hurley Medical Center and also the employee assistance program coordinator. So I did very little client interaction, patient-client interaction. However, coordinated the programs within the organization, making sure that we could bring some EAP, employee assistance programs, to various entities, organizations, and that we could provide. We had a full-scale behavioral health service there at the hospital, as well, along with detox for those who are depending on drugs. And you don't see detox programs anymore.
We
You don't
see jail time.
Yeah, you don't see residential treatment programs anymore, but you still see outpatient treatment programs, and we had those through the Hurley Medical Center system.
That's pretty amazing,
Yeah.
especially for that time period. Because I mean, the '80s, you're thinking. Well, I'm thinking kind of the crack epidemic at that time.
Sure.
So is that like some of the patients?
Well,
that you
here's what you had. You had General Motors in its last days, but still vibrant.
Okay.
General Motors had the premier healthcare insurance. That healthcare insurance covered residential treatment of substance abuse, alcoholism. That insurance covered outpatient treatment, intensive outpatient treatment. That insurance covered those particular things, and where you had an abundance of men and women seeking treatment, seeking therapy, seeking counseling. And so it was a vibrant a business, if you will, at the time. And so Hurley Medical Center had a premier program at the time, and we were really involved and engaged in helping a lot of people get through that process at the time. And as you stated, crack cocaine was heavy and prevalent throughout the country. Crack babies was a big thing, big to do at the time. Alcoholism, of course, has never left us, and it still has a life of its own. And so that was the action and activity at that particular time.
that you were involved in.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. I have so many other questions regarding
Yeah.
that, but I really want to make sure we stick to your journey
Sure.
because you have a story yourself outside of just the work.
Sure.
So I know you talked about your mom's experience, and also there was a situation with your father, which you just brought up,
Yeah.
and navigating his health. So talk to me about that. I know you stated that there was issues as far as navigating the healthcare system with your
Sure.
dad. What did that look like?
So my father he was a 42-year employee of General Motors, served 42 years. He had bona fide healthcare insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. My father, I don't ever remember him going to the doctor, the dentist, or anyone for that matter related to healthcare. I always remembered my father going to work every day, whether he felt good or not, and didn't see him not feeling good much at all growing up as a kid. And as an adult man, didn't see it at all as well. Well, it finally reached my father. My father had triple bypass surgery at a point after he retired from General Motors. And at this particular time, I was the only sibling home. My other three siblings were out of state. And so I was here to take care of my father and to make sure that things were in place for him from a healthcare perspective. Triple bypass surgery. He also had prostate cancer. They got that early as well. So being a part of my father's life cycle and trying to make sure that he makes his appointments, make sure that he takes his medication, making sure that he follows through with trying to eat right, and some of those things. And at this particular time, he was getting of age. And so that was a big challenge as well, navigating with my father on that side of things. And then as he approaches the system, my father is this senior citizen, traditional Southern man who prefers to talk with a person who is not from abroad. And what we see today is a number and a wealth of physicians from throughout the world, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's in Europe, but we see physicians of different cultures and nationalities and backgrounds. Well, my father couldn't understand his particular doctor, got frustrated, and so that was an issue in itself, and to helping him navigate and understand his healthcare issues and listening closely. And so that was a challenge in itself. And just trying to get him to literally go to the doctor was also a challenge.
What do you think the resistance is with going, knowing that he's having some difficulties? What is that resistance?
So I got to tell you, that is a phenomenon in its own self. And that's a totally different session and sit down and discussion, is why men don't go to the doctor. I can tell you that my father from Birmingham, Alabama, who is also a product of that era where healthcare systems they did not trust. And he was very much afraid and leery of that healthcare system and didn't feel the need to go. Took it in a way that when it's his time to go, he will go and not necessarily have to worry about healthcare maintenance, management, treatment, and so on and so forth. That wasn't something that he was indoctrinated in. That was something that he really didn't know about. And so those are the challenges a lot as it relates to men going to the doctor. Men tend to be, and what we are known to be, are protectors, providers, hunters. We are men of society that we don't get ill, and we are indoctrinated not to get ill. Perfect example, when the 4-year-old boy falls and scrapes his knee, what does mom or dad say?
Well, I feel like dads say don't cry.
Exactly.
But moms, we want to cuddle our babies.
We definitely do that. And so there's this training from a small age. Big boys don't cry. Come on, you can do it. You can walk it off. And then when we get to our youthful years, our teenage years, it's, you can walk it off and tough it up and so on. And then when we become men, you need to man up on that. And so this is a long-standing sort of indoctrination that we got to get around and get away from.
So was that taught to you by your dad?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not only said in words, but show and display in behavior. Sort of very proud of me as I navigated through my athleticism in junior high and high school, and even college for that matter. Just being one to encourage you to work out, stay strong, compete, be prepared. And healthcare was never, ever mentioned in my life as a kid growing up.
Even from your mom?
From my mother, different story.
Okay.
My mother definitely made sure we went to the dentist. My mother definitely made sure we were taken care of if we got ill or sick, medication, and so on. Totally different from my father. Yeah.
And it's quite funny, though, to be in the same household with these two different views.
Yeah.
And so, in my mind, I'm thinking, was mom telling dad, hey, you need to go to the doctor? I wonder if she's seen signs of maybe some issues within, I don't know, with the heart, what type of symptom that would look like, but I wonder if she had seen anything.
So, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, meaning my mother was very much aware and controlled the healthcare program in the household, if you will. And most women do.
Yep.
They make sure that the husband and the children are at their appointments and get their appointments met and so on and so forth. Keep in mind, my mother passed away at the age of 47, My father passed away at the age of 84. So there was this wide gap of she not being there and he just simply navigating on his own.
Yeah.
And so that was a big issue for my father. And I truly believe that if my mother were still around, his longevity would have been a little bit longer as well. And his life would have extended a little bit longer beyond his particular age.
Yeah. Wow. So at what point, I mean, you talked about your dad's health journey. At what point did you first start noticing signs? You're a heart transplant survivor. So when did you know that something was off with you, and what was going on in your life at the time?
Sure. So I received my physical checkups every year, starting at the age of 25. And that was when my mother had passed away. And so also being in the healthcare field, it was just so easy to go and get a checkup. I had a primary care doctor, and I got my checkups on an annual basis, on a regular basis. In 2015, I retired from Hurley Medical Center, and my primary care doctor also retired as well. And so there was this gap from 2015 to 2017 that I did not go to a doctor to get an annual checkup. As a matter of fact, I didn't have a primary care doctor. And in 2017, I found one here in Saginaw and began my physical checkup. It was at that particular time that I was told by my primary care doctor to go to the emergency room at Covenant. And so I went to the emergency room, and I was told that I had an enlarged heart and one clogged artery. So I stayed a week in the hospital here at Covenant to put a stent in my heart and begin a medication regimen at that particular time. So that was the very first introduction to my heart issues.
So I'm just curious. You've been getting checkups for each year, and then the time you don't, all of a sudden your heart is enlarged. How does that happen?
It was a fascinating, weird moment and experience. And so from 15, and I didn't receive a checkup. In 16, I recognized I had a cough, a persistent cough that I attributed to allergies or asthma or something to that nature. I even went to the doctor in Ann Arbor, to a specialist, to get that checked out. Nothing significant regarding that. And then in 2017, the cough persisted, and I then found a primary care doctor. Once I found the doctor, I had my full physical checkup, and the cough, of course, was still going on. And at that particular time, he said, I recognize some things within the EKG in the office here, and that I really need you to go to the emergency room now to be admitted, because I'm identifying some things within your EKG. And that was at the time that I went in and discovered that there's some things going on, and I had some heart issues at the time. Keep in mind, my father had a triple bypass years before that. And then, of course, I recognized and found out that my aunt, his sister, passed away of a heart attack, and my father's brother passed away of a heart attack. And so in 2018 is when it really began. So I was diagnosed in 2018 with cardiomyopathy.
And what age were you at this time?
I was at the ripe old age of 54, 55, too young for that particular kind of disease. However, being a genetic type of thing, it's easy to figure out when it's passed along in the genes that you can become infected or diagnosed with some of the same diseases that your mother or your father or
No.
some history.
With the age, as far as your aunt and your uncle, do you remember their ages when they were diagnosed?
They
with these
were of
issues?
significant age.
Okay.
They were of significant age when they passed away. They were in their 70s and 80s, late 70s, late 80s of my uncle. My father was the youngest out of his siblings. There were 7 of them.
Okay.
And he was the youngest, but they were of age, significant age when they passed away of heart attacks.
Okay. Wow. The Saginaw Community Foundation offers more than 250 scholarship opportunities for high school seniors, college students, and adult learners. With one simple application, you can access hundreds of opportunities. Learn more at saginawfoundation.org. Wow.
And
So
so
at 55, you learn that now you have an enlarged heart after. My mind is still kind of blown away, though. You were getting regular checkups, and then in a 2-year period, this change just happened. And it also kind of takes me back to what you were saying with your father after he retires. How does the body know now we're relaxed, we're okay, we're not?
Yeah.
I'm so curious about so many things right now.
It's a fascinating dynamic, and I think a lot has to do with over time, the body has given itself and worn out, and which is why it's so important to get a physical checkup, because if you can check it out early, if you can discover the disease early on, which is what happened to me. I was diagnosed in 2018 with heart failure, cardiomyopathy, and that began my journey. And what I immediately wanted to do was to know what exactly can I do to prolong my life. And so there were a number of things that was advised to me that I could do in order to provide some longevity to my life.
And what was that? What was provided to you?
So one of the things that my cardiologist said right from the very beginning when he diagnosed me in 2018 was, Mr. Parker, you at some point will need a new heart. You will need a heart transplant, and we don't know when that will take place, but what we have identified was that your heart is very weak and it is failing. And so I asked, again, what can I do to prolong my lifestyle? And then one was the medication that we're giving you and you're taking, take that to its fullest. You will feel good from time to time. Continue to take your medication. And so I learned very early on is to always take your medication, even if you're feeling well, take the full prescription. And if it's requested to get another prescription, refill, take that. 2 is really simple. Try to eat better. And I am a culprit of not eating well over the years.
Okay.
Growing up, definitely ate anything and everything. Grew up in a household where fried foods was fantastic, great. My mom cooked all the time, and it was good stuff, but it wasn't the most healthiest. And so I learned to eat differently, and that was the advice that I was given. I was always an athletic person and always worked out, but I didn't at that particular time. Getting of age and working and just establishing a career and being engaged in work and so on, you tend to forget that. You tend to put that to a side. Well,
So the fitness kind of fell back.
the fitness
but the
faded.
Food was,
yeah.
I'm going to eat whatever I want to. And okay.
Yeah. And then I also agree, lifestyle. When you and I drank. I didn't drink profusely, but I socially drank and so on. And so those things can all weigh into your physical fitness, and failure to not address it and catch it at an early stage, you can succumb to some illnesses that can really take your life. And so what I, again, sort of started doing was exercising. And what I mean by exercising, I walk, I walk 3 days a week. Walk
Is that
up
now or at the time when you were diagnosed?
at the
Did you
time
start-
when I was diagnosed and currently. And I got to tell you, one of the reasons why I really started walking was because after I progressed in my illness, in my heart illness, for instance, when I was diagnosed, it was just medication. The year in 2018, later on that year, I received a pacemaker. And I really began to increase my workouts. And then after my pacemaker in 2019, I received a defibrillator.
Okay.
So I had a defibrillator and a pacemaker and continued to take my medication, continued to eat as best as I could, and continue to exercise. And then in 2020, I received an LVAD. And an LVAD is called a left ventricular assistant device.
Okay.
And in short, it's a heart pump. It's literally a hard drive, a line going through your abdomen that's connected to a pump that's attached to your heart that allows your heart to pump efficiently. So without that, my heart was pumping this way.
Wow.
With the pump, it started pumping efficiently.
Yeah.
And that, it was in 2020. And what they do is call that the bridge to transplant. That is the last step that we or medicine can do to save your life. The next step is a new heart.
So how long did it take before you got the new heart? Because right now we're already at 2 years of you
So
going through this
from
process.
2020 to 2024. So it took me 4 years to receive a heart transplant.
I mean, longer though, because you got diagnosed in 2018,
in 2000 and got diagnosed in 18. Actually, I believe it was 2017.
Yeah.
But from 2017 to 2024, I was embedded in heart issues in
We're
and out
talking
of the
about just
hospital.
last year, you just got this transplant.
Yeah, February the 3rd to be exact,
Wow.
2024. And God has blessed me with a new heart, a new life, a new chance, a new purpose, a new calling to do something.
That is amazing. So, so was that like a 7-year journey almost?
It was.
Before you got the heart transplant. I am curious, what was that emotional hurdle like? The emotional and mental hurdle that you had to go through for 7 years?
Yeah.
Like you didn't even know if you were going to, I mean, you don't know, right? You don't know if you'll get it or not.
Honestly, Renee, it was frightening. And there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think that I was going to die. It was scary in so many ways because you were actually experiencing the failure of the heart that takes place within your body. Not only does your heart, is your heart failing, but other elements within the body, other functions such as kidneys, such as my eyes. I had eye surgery on both of my eyes during the course of my tenure with my heart troubles. Kidney issues that I'm still experiencing today. And what I mean by kidney issues, my kidneys were damaged due to my heart failure. I'm not receiving dialysis or anything, thank God, but I'm taking kidney medication, and I have damaged my heart. And I'm now on the kidney transplant list due to poor kidney damage of the heart failure. And just all kinds of body functions that really work and affect you based on your heart. Your heart is the most powerful, the most important function, muscle within our bodies. And when that fails, dies, then other elements of your body pass away. So the mental stress, the mental weight was significant for me. and more than one would like to talk about, but it's important to talk about it. I'm currently in the midst of going through therapy with a counselor due to the trauma, not only of the time frame and always asking the question, when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? There's the trauma of the actual waiting and for the transplant to take place. So I was admitted into the hospital in December of 2023, and took me 3 months to get my new heart in February of 2024.
So you're just waiting in the hospital for 3
Waiting in
months.
the hospital, but the wait was not a calm rest wait. The wait was trauma. I had a defibrillator that was placed in my heart, and what defibrillators do, they actually shock you when your heart fails, quits, stops. So I was shocked 28 times while I was in the hospital. I was in ICU for a month and a half. I flatlined twice while I was in the hospital due to multiple issues, due to heart failure. I seizured twice while I was in the hospital due to heart failure. And so those particular instances, those particular things that took place were extremely traumatic for me. Some of that I remember, a lot of it I don't remember. My wife was able to share a great deal with me, and along with my cardiologist and the team, to talk about it. But the trauma and the experience of it was significant.
Yeah. Wow. So right now you are in therapy because of all of that.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I'm in therapy because of the trauma that I experienced, the weight of the emotional aspect of heart failure. Growing up as a kid, I heard of a heart transplant, but you never imagine you would be a recipient of that, number one. Number two, growing up, hearing a heart transplant, you thought that was, he or she, they're going to die. And never understanding the advancement of medicine and what it is today. And actually, back growing up as a kid, growing up in the 60s and the 70s, heart transplants were few and far between.
Yeah.
And so it was a death knell, if you will. And so being here today, experiencing the advancement of medicine and the glory and the mercy and the grace of God to deliver me from that is awesome.
Yeah.
And here to talk about it.
That is a powerful testimony. And I mean, I didn't know it happened like last year. You know, I'm just reading what you send over and I'm like, okay, he has this transplant, but wow, this is like still fresh. This is new.
Yes.
And now you're going to therapy about it. I think that is so important because a lot of men do not seek out therapy. They don't seek the support and counseling. I think sometimes the weight gets pushed off on the significant other, you know, that emotional toll. But what made you decide to go and say, let me talk to someone outside of my wife who has been there the entire time?
Well, a number of reasons, but one probably the most significant element, activity that took place that really steered me to therapy was sitting at home after the transplant, watching television around 9:30, and I went into a anxiety attack. Not a full-blown panic attack per se, but it was an anxiety attack, actually feeling and recalling what went on in the hospital, in ICU, remembering various things. And it really, really brought me home to I may be physically healing and okay now, and I'm still alive, but I still have work to do. I still have to grow, and I still have to get through this process. And I can't do it alone. Sure, I talk to my God, I pray, and I still can't get it through this by myself and that element. And I need to talk to someone. And so to me, it was an easy decision to seek out. And they had told me, by the way, my discharge planning, all has said to me, Mr. Parker, we think it's important to see a therapist. Once you leave the hospital, please reach out to us if you need one. Here are some numbers. I could even call back and see a therapist through the Cleveland Clinic, which is where I had my heart transplant, and which is where my cardiologist was at. But I chose not to, and thought maybe I could just go home and sort of heal on my own and process some things on my own. That's not so. And so it was a matter of making a decision, and it was a matter of setting aside the manlyhood, setting aside the macho thing that I have going on, and that carried me through thus far, that I needed to talk with someone.
I think also when
It was the best decision I made.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a huge advocate of therapy, coaching, whatever it is to make my life better. Because I think if I'm better, then the people around me are better.
Sure.
So I also think with your situation, given that you had already done work in behavioral health, did that also help you to make that decision? Was it easier to make it because you had already been in that field? Absolutely.
My background in healthcare, my background in behavioral health, certainly made it easier to go down that road. I got to tell you, one of the things that it also helped me to really understand what transition and transformation is all about. And I think that is what I went through. I went through a transition from getting a new heart and going through that whole process starting in 2017.
Yeah.
That was the transition period. And then the transformation is once the new heart is implanted in your body, who are you today? What are you today? And where are you going today? And that allowed me, and I found that out through therapy. And it's made me a better man today in where I'm going and what I am and who I am. Yeah.
It sounds like you're taking on different identities. Like this was, like that teenage years, you were an athlete,
Absolutely.
and then now we're this type of person. So the identity that you have now, what is that? Who is that? What does it look like?
I believe men go through cycles and identities, as you state, in their lifestyle, stages, if call it what you want to call it, but it exists. And who I am today definitely is a man who is of conviction, a man who actually found a purpose. I can tell you for a fact that if you were to ask me during my career, what was my purpose in life, Dwayne Parker, and I wouldn't be able to tell you. I could tell you what I enjoyed doing. I can tell you what I liked and what made me feel good, but I couldn't tell you what was my purpose. Today, I can tell you what my purpose is today. I know what it is. I figured it out what it is, and a lot of it came through the transition to the transformation of the heart transplant. And today, my purpose is about sharing and encouraging and empowering men to stay on top of their health care, even when they're feeling good. Get an annual physical checkup. If you're going through some downs, see a therapist. Talk with someone.
Say that to the camera. I want you to tell them directly. Go to the doctor. Tell them.
If you're going through some ups and downs, feeling a little depressed, feeling a little angry, feeling a little confused, go see a therapist, see a counselor. It'll really help guide you out of that and give you a better focus on where you're headed and who you are.
Thank you.
That's important for me.
Yes, it is.
And so now my purpose, my ministry, my mission is to empower men, is to encourage men, take better care of yourself. And the reason why you should do that is because you have a responsibility to some really important people in your life. That's your family,
Yep.
your wife, your children. And then if you're one of those guys where you're involved in your church, if you're one of those guys who are a significant leader within your organization and within your community, you got a responsibility for them to be a better man and to be a better person. And the only way you're going to get that way is you stay on top of your health and your mental health.
So much is coming to me. I feel like this conversation can just keep going on because I'm thinking about your wife. I'm thinking about your children.
I have one daughter.
One daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's 34 now.
Wow.
But she was there at my bedside. She lives in Houston, Texas, but she was very much involved in my my journey, both inside and outside of the hospital.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, this is kind of off topic, but it's still on topic. But I was just recently talking to a financial planner, and you know, I'm in my 30s, so I'm thinking about like life insurance for my daughter.
Sure.
But they started to talk about disability insurance, and so this is after a point where you had already retired. So I'm thinking about your health insurance at this point. Like, what does those bills look like? Yeah. I mean, that's a mental toll on you, right? Like the financial aspect of it.
There are so many elements that weigh on your mind during the process of being diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, being diagnosed with a disease. There are so many factors that come into play, which is also part of the reason why I needed to see therapy, is because from the being diagnosed to the actual heart transplant, you have to think about the things that are going to put you in place, in a position. You have to think about your family and how and what that means to them. You have to think about so many other people besides yourself, and to put that into play. And so the weight of that thinking, the weight of that pondering, the weight of that contemplation can be significant. It can really create some stress and some discomfort. And in a lot of cases, particularly when it comes to men, we don't deal with depression and stress the best way. We don't deal with it from a mental health counseling perspective. We deal with it through alcohol. We deal with it through
addictive behavior,
anger and frustration. We deal with it through acting out and covering up. And then, God forbid, we deal with it through suicide. Those are the things, coping mechanisms in a lot of cases for men. Yeah.
I'm so happy you touched on so many parts. I've had conversations with guys, and I'm like, do you go see a therapist? And it's like, no. And then but you're touching on so many important things, from mental health, from physical health. I see this mission from your transition to transformation, which is, I love how I'm a marketing person, so I just love the wording around it. Yeah. But I'm also seeing that physical journey and spiritual journey. It literally took a heart transplant for you to figure out your purpose. And it's just so much to this story. I hope you write a book too.
I've been told and I've been asked to write a book, and I think that it's something that I aspire to do at some point in time, because I still want to travel down this mission and this ministry. However, right now I really, really want to take Men's Health First, which is my business and my endeavor, and to really engage men in the community with this notion of just being and getting better and taking better care of yourself, because I think that is going to be where we need to be at this juncture, and we need to do it in a guy-friendly way. I think from a traditional perspective, healthcare and to talk about healthcare in men, it just doesn't go over well. When you can't just sit down and talk to a man, hey, how's your health? How you feeling? That's not gonna fly. And so what we try to do is we try to engage men in a guy-friendly way about healthcare. And so some of the things that Men's Health First are doing, which is we have an up-and-coming event called Pancakes and Prostates.
Okay.
And so that event is centered around prostate cancer, which is one of actually the second leading cause of death in men, and the second leading cause of death, cancer death in men.
Yeah.
It's critical, and particularly among Black and African American men, prostate cancer. So what we're offering is a real simple concept and program where come from one, stay for the other. Have some pancakes and sausage and eggs. Not the most hearty breakfast that you can think of, but
it pulls them in.
Guys love hearty breakfast, right? And so we also provide free PSA testing, which is nothing more than a blood test, a blood draw, and it's called a PSA, and to identify whether or not you have some prostate cancer symptoms and signs. Too often men think a prostate cancer check is the digital rectal exam. That is no longer the case initially.
Okay.
Medicine has advanced today, and we can identify a prostate person with a blood test and not, the digital rectal exam. Too often men will stay away from prostate cancer because of that. So healthcare literacy is a big issue for me when it comes to men's health, just knowing some of the things that they could follow.
So you're giving them education,
Yes.
awareness. I'm assuming you're inviting doctors and healthcare providers to these events.
Yes, a real basic, simple panel discussion with the doctor giving an overview of prostate cancer, what it is, how you get it, how it can be treated. And then we got a panel of 2 men who have survived prostate cancer. Gotcha. And so they're telling their story, their real story about when they caught it, what they did about it, and what they're doing now. And so that's the impact of what I'm trying to convey to men, and hopefully we'll get some traction on that, along with some other men's health events and activities as well.
That is awesome. Tell them how they can find more about men's health.
Absolutely. Men's Health First, LLC. We have a website, menshealthfirst.org. Menshealthfirst.org, spelled out all of the words. And you go online and take a look at my webpage. You'll see some up-and-coming events and activities. I just met on Friday of last week, enhancing the webpage. And so we'll see more information on that. It's going to be a robust webpage full of information to help men, and also dates and of events that are coming up and things of this nature.
Awesome. This is amazing conversation. I'm so excited to just see more of the work that you're going to do, because I know it's going to be amazing. It already is amazing.
Thank you.
The fact that you just got out of the operation table last year and you're doing all of this phenomenal work
it's a blessing. It's a blessing from God.
I hope the book is coming too.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.